Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of MouseMinds. We are live for you, as always, on Tuesday night. Here live on Facebook and YouTube, streaming live on the Disney and Beyond channel, where we normally stream our show on YouTube, and then, of course, on Facebook as well on the MouseMinds channel, and on my personal Facebook as well. So we are joined here by our amazing cast. We have Lisa and we have Michael joining us this week.
Hi, everyone.
I'm gonna be on mute most of this time.
Go ahead.
I spent Friday night in Disney. I got poured on.
What
I
were you
spent all day yesterday in Disney, and I got poured on, and I am now sick. Do not get your head wet and then drive home with air conditioning because it's not a good combo. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Would you get caught in the rain at Disney?
Everything was fine until I was back in Star Wars Land-ish, whatever the heck, in the very back of the park. And just as the park is about to close, skies opened up. Didn't need my poncho until the end of the night. So now I have the long walk from the back all the way to my car. And then driving home in the air for the hour, I think it really got me. And then yesterday, got drenched in Epcot. At least I had my poncho this time. Not fun.
Yeah, the rain has been pretty. Yesterday was like almost all day, but at least you got to go to Food and Wine if you went to Epcot. So that's
Food and Wine. I gave Communicore Hallway the benefit of the doubt. I said, great, it's a festival. That place must be rocking, and it's still a high school cafeteria. So I don't know what they were planning.
Mac and cheese though,
right? Just like a high school cafeteria.
This is very true. But yes, there is what do they call it, macatizers, which it does look pretty good. I haven't had it yet. Now, I did notice something. Macatizers. Yeah, one of my friends actually brought something to my attention that went there because this is actually one of her favorites. I've sorry, Danny, if you're listening. I don't understand why this is your favorite booth, but one of the booths from from Food and Wine is actually missing this year, and it's actually I would say it's a pretty popular booth, but it's also one of the pavilions. It's like the booth for the actual pavilion. And let me find this image so I can throw it on the screen here. I was making this at work because I know how everyone likes to, well, not at work, but I made this online. I know how everyone likes to protest things at Disney, and I thought this would be good. So hold on, I'll throw this up there for you guys so you can see. But I will tell you, the booth that was closed this year, believe it or not, was the Ireland booth. There is no Ireland booth, which is kind of shocking because there's always an Ireland booth because that's pretty much the booth for the UK. That's like their booth. I brought that. I made these shirts. We were gonna make shirts in protest. But if you didn't see that, for those of you listening, it says,
That's
"Dear Disney,
funny.
bring back the Ireland booth," and there's like an Irish flag and so on and so forth. But apparently, what she was told is that the booth actually suffered damage from the weather, the elements, and that's why it was not brought back this year. And I did not know that. I didn't even think about that. But people look out for the Ireland booth. I mean, I know in the past people have used that as a way to show you how much of a cost cutting that Disney does every year because they have that same chocolate pudding thing that they serve every year, and every year it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I have a friend of the show, Jeff Lang, who has like an archival set of photos from when Epcot Food Mine first opened till now, and you can see every year the cake gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and now it's about this big, where it used to be like this big. For those of you watching, I mean, it used to be like for those of you not watching, I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 inches wide, and now it's down to like an inch wide. So major reduction, but the price still stayed the same. It probably went up, honestly. But shrink, what do they call it? Shrinkflation, in effect. So, but yeah, there is no Ireland booth this year. Did you notice that? I mean, I honestly am not like I don't go out of my way for that booth, so it wasn't even on my radar.
And I grabbed the booklet and I didn't stop anywhere this time. I got in there.
You didn't stop?
No, I walked the whole darn park. I mean, yeah, it was pouring.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
wasn't
that
even
makes
so
sense.
crowded to say, oh my God, the lines are ridiculous. It was the middle of the day on a Monday.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy a thing. I
Mm.
tried that s'mores shake on Friday when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I didn't get anything. I had a Liberty Tree dinner, so I was not about to eat anything.
Oh yeah, you're not
until
about to do
that
anything
dinner.
if you got that going on.
I went breakfast and I skipped right through to dinner, and I said, "You bring me more meat." So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't blame you on that. That's
You could fill up there for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you on doing that. Yeah. So, whoops. That is that. They did have some entrees that look interesting. Of course, they brought back the pickle milkshake, which everyone is talking
Saw
about
that.
already again.
Mhm.
I'm not really a fan, but it is what it's, hey, people want it back. But that is probably the most interesting thing they brought back. But there's a lot of good things. I've watched a couple of videos on. I haven't made it over to myself. I've been too busy. I went to Busch Gardens this weekend, so
Nice.
that was really nice. That was fun until it got rained out. But we did get to feed kangaroos, so that was a
The
lot of
one
fun.
booth that my wife was missing was the grilled cheese. She fell in love with that grilled cheese pimento.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Loved that. Loved it. We bought it every time we were there. And I don't know what they're selling there now, but it's not the pimento grilled cheese. So,
Huh.
I guess they got to keep switching it out. But that grilled cheese with the little cup of soup and that pop cup.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
But wasn't that for Festival of the Arts?
Was that the arts? It might have been, right? Because it was the little paint can. Oh, good.
Yeah, it was
So
a little
maybe she'll
paint
get
can.
it back in January. Good memory. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was Festival of the Arts, because that's something they would bring back every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the crowds, was it super busy when you went?
Wasn't terrible. I didn't go at night. Spent the night at the Magic Kingdom, so I don't know who's going to get worse. But everybody said the park was empty Sunday, and everybody was saying it was empty today. I don't know what happened yesterday, but Friday night, Rise of the Resistance posted a 30-minute wait. And when I tell you I walked from the entrance to the load area without stopping once, without running into anyone, that 30-minute wait was non-existent.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was nice. Again, it was
That's
pouring. I think a lot
nice.
of people bailed. But
Right.
I was able to just walk right through to the load area. It was fantastic.
That night that they did that night that I went to, well, I hadn't talked about this because of the fact that we missed last week, but that night that I did Moonlight Magic, Rise of the Resistance was closed the whole night after
Oh.
they closed the park down. I walked onto the Millennium Falcon. That was just a straight up walk on. That was the Smuggler's Run was just a straight up walk on. I went to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway right after the fireworks ended, and that was a walk on. I just walked right on that, but yeah, I was a little bummed because Rise was not open. That was one of the ones that I was looking forward to actually riding, but they did feed me a lot of snacks, so I'm not too upset. I had like 6 snack vouchers. I had so much stuff I had to take it home and bring it to people at my office the next day. I just couldn't eat it all. So
What a problem to have.
Yeah, what a problem.
Right?
That's what I was thinking. I could be having much worse problems.
And look at all the new friends you made at work, so everything's okay.
Oh, I know, right?
Go to Robert's desk.
And
He's
they
got
probably-
snacks.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the snack guy.
Oh, he might like Disney.
Yeah, I might like Disney.
Your
He brought us
secret's
the
out
old
now.
popcorn. Let's be his friend.
No, it was day old, cinnamon glazed
Nice.
almonds. Thank you very much.
Nothing wrong with
Ooh,
that.
They were
nice.
warm when I picked them up, but I had to keep them overnight, and then they got day old. But they were delicious, and people enjoyed them.
Right.
So, but I did get to try some desserts and treats and things that I hadn't tried before at Hollywood Studios. I had an amazing black spire mousse at Docking
Hmm.
Bay 7, which was really good. So that it was worth it just for that. So it was worth it just to get the free snacks, and then of course that, and then of course
Walk-ons. Yeah. Walk-ons too.
walk-ons,
Don't forget
and
those.
yeah, walk-ons too, and then of course before we get into our topic for tonight, because I don't want to go on too much of a tangent with this, because I know we talk about the parks a lot, but we have a topic tonight that's not about the parks necessarily, but I have to mention how amazing Woody's Roundup Barbecue is. It is like my new favorite restaurant at all of Walt Disney World. It is one of the most incredible meals I've ever had on Disney property. It is so good, and it is so fun at the same time. I went there on this past Friday with my daughter to take her for her birthday just on a whim. I was like trying to figure out somewhere to go, and or no, two Fridays ago, and I just chose that and said, hey, we're just gonna try it, and I was pleasantly surprised. They, the servers are all in on the shtick. It's like Whispering Canyon before they toned it down. They when Andy's coming, you got to freeze up and do the whole thing and act like a toy, a frozen toy. And when Sid comes, you got to hide so he doesn't pick you up and light you on fire or whatever Sid does. He's crazy. He scares me. Um, and then and then of course they bring you out so much food. I mean, there is just so much food, and it's actually really good. They
Hmm.
have this amazing watermelon salad that is just absolutely fantastic. I'm like I was eating, especially on a hot day, um, like what we were having um, that day when it was super hot. It was just so nice and refreshing to have that salad there. And there was a nice cucumber and tomato salad, and I got the plant based skillet, which was all you care to enjoy, like impossible sausage, and there was a vegan rib, which was like a impossible meat shaped like a rib with like a they put a bone in there, but the bone was like sugar cane, and then there was barbecue sauce on top. All of it was so good. There was Slinky Dog mac and cheese, which that one's obviously not vegan because there's cheese in it, but all the other sides that they serve, like 99% of the sides, I think every one except for the mac and cheese is completely vegan. So
Wow.
even like the beans have jackfruit in them, like, and they're all really good. And I watched people eating it, and you think people would be like, "Oh, what is this?" And everyone was enjoying the food. It was so awesome. Like, and
That
and
is good.
honestly, for the price, because I know like Disney restaurants can be expensive, but for something like that, normally I think Michael would agree with me. You'd expect to pay probably around $65 or something like that per person. That's about the
For
same
dinner,
price
That's
that
yeah.
you'd pay
standard.
for like Chef Mickey's or something like that.
Right.
It's only $45, which, to be quite honest with you, um, is a good value for a Disney restaurant. Obviously, that's not a cheap meal by any means. I could go spend $20 at McDonald's and get a lot more food, but for the food that I got, for the experience that I got, I found it to be actually a pretty awesome value. And I also got a 15% discount on top of that with my annual pass. So I was pleasantly surprised. So definitely
And
check it out. Go ahead.
I think if they made that a character meal, they could jack that price up to a good 57 to $60 on the I don't know, on an average side.
I
But I'm glad that
I
they
was
did it. If they can hold it at 40, it's awesome.
well, I was honestly surprised that it wasn't a character meal. I expected it to be a character meal. I was like sure it was going to be a character meal. That was the reason why I booked it. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a character meal. This will be nice. It'll be fun. We'll see some characters." And then there was none. There was no characters to be seen. So that was actually kind of shocking. I was like, where are all the characters? This is not what usually happens here. I'm just gonna throw up, for those of you watching live, I'm just gonna throw up just a couple photos here of my meal so you guys can see, and see how gorgeous this meal was. I mean, it was all that watermelon salad. It's just, oh, that was the best thing ever. I'll show you. Give me 1 second.
Let's see what we got. Yep. Check this out.
All right, let's see here. Desktop. All right, so it's coming up right now. So once these upload and I can show you guys on the live feed, you'll be pleasantly surprised because this is like really good. So this was one of my, I think this is it right here. This was one of my favorite things. Now it's cubed seedless watermelon, and it's in like there's like a light lemon dressing on it, and it was cool, it was crisp, it was refreshing. I was eating that like nonstop. Like I couldn't, even when they brought my food out, I was still eating that. That's how good that actually was. And then there was another. This is a cucumber and tomato salad. Again, it had like an Italian style dressing on it, and that was so good. So two amazing salads that were perfect for a warm summer's day. And then this is my actual barbecue skillet. You can see, if you're watching online, you can see there is the skewer, or it's not, it's the rib, the vegan rib, which is basically like they like mushed up impossible meat and put it on a skewer, and the skewer is basically um, like a sugar cane. It's a sugar cane. I inspected it and then I tasted it because I was like, this isn't wood. So I was like, the bet this is sugar. So I tried it. It's really good. And then and then there's the impossible sausage, and there was some cauliflower with that. And the sides, everything was fantastic. They do serve. There's the mac and cheese if you're watching, was fantastic. And then they do serve unlimited tater tots. Which were the tater tots really good. Basically the same tater tots they serve at Woody's Lunchbox, but they're unlimited. So and there is a dessert too. They brought out it's like they have like mini dessert trays that they bring out to you. You can order one dessert or you can order multiple desserts. This time I just ordered pretty much every dessert that they had, except for there was like one vegan one that didn't really sound that good. But they have a Forky cupcake with Forky inside of it. There was there was a chocolate mousse, which was amazing. I had a lot of that. There was like a cheesecake one, and I don't even remember what the other one is, but they were all so good. And for the price, I mean, I literally left that restaurant feeling like I had finally eaten at a Disney restaurant where I got my money's worth. It didn't feel like, I had paid a Disney tax for eating at Disney. I felt like if I would have gone to a nice barbecue restaurant and they offered me all you can eat, it would have been close to the same price that I paid. Um, so I was not mad about that at all. And they kept bringing it out, and the servers were absolutely fantastic. So much so, my experience was so well that I went back 2 days later. That's how good it was. I literally went back 2 days later and did it again. So.
And you said this is all you care to enjoy, or
Yeah.
how was it? Okay.
It's family style. So just like Whispering Canyon, they bring you out the skillet, and then of course whatever you want as far as refills on the sides or anything else, they'll just bring that out to you. And it is all you care to enjoy, whatever you like. If you want to have 30 desserts, you can order 30 desserts. If you want to have more watermelon, you can do that. Or if you want to have just more tater tots, I know we always wound up getting more tater tots because those were one of the best things. They were so good. But yeah, everything on the menu except for the meat and the mac and cheese is completely plant based. The desserts, there is only one that's plant-based. The others have like the chocolate mousse has some cream in it and things like that. But everything else is completely plant-based. So if you are vegetarian or vegan, this is the spot to get actual really good vegan barbecue, and it's something too that we don't have in Orlando. We don't. The only other place that we have that has uh, vegan barbecue would be like Four Rivers, which has they, they have something, but yeah, even for a restaurant in Orlando, this is a step up because it's actually barbecue, vegetarian barbecue, which I found out we don't really have in Orlando. So I was thoroughly impressed. Disney, you did an amazing job, and I will be back soon because at that price, I mean, you're gonna have to. If I'm ever at Hollywood Studios, there's no question I'm going there.
If you can leave for $40 and be full, like genuinely satisfied with what you ate, it's a win.
Oh, I mean, I was full to the point where like I was almost sick. I ate so much food, I just couldn't stop eating it. I mean, the tater tots are so good, you just keep popping them in your mouth. Like, and I'm not like a huge like fries or tater tots person, but they're so good and they salt them so well. I could not stop. So, yeah, if you're going to, and the crazy thing is, I found out after the fact because I was posting about it that it has a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people do not like that restaurant. I read a lot of the comments from other influencers and other people that have been there, and they don't like that restaurant. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it's changed since when it opened, but when it first opened, they didn't like it. So I'm assuming that they've changed and gotten a lot better because um, it, I was shocked when I read the reviews. I was like, this is one of the best meals I've ever had. I'm like, I don't understand why people don't like this. So,
do you have problems getting a reservation, or did you walk up?
no,
Or
wide open. I did both reservations day of.
Yeah.
When I did it on the Sunday, I did it probably like 2 hours before I went to the restaurant. It was wide open.
Wow.
And then when I got to the restaurant, I was seated in less than 5 minutes. And the restaurant was busy, but it wasn't packed. It wasn't like every table was taken.
Sure.
So, and I would think on a weekend that it would be packed, but it was not. So, and they also have a walk-up list too, which I've seen recently a lot of people have had luck with. So you can do a walk-up if you're in the park, but they have every reservation slot open. The only thing I will tell you is if you are going there, um, as with all Disney restaurants, if you are two or less people going to a Disney restaurant, always, always, always set your reservation for 3 people. Just do it.
Yep, I set mine for 4 so I could get my dinner at the time I wanted.
Exactly, because when I put it in for 2, it was only showing me that they had reservations at like 8:30. I
Yep.
put it in for 3, and then everything opened up. I had like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4:30, 5:30, everything open. So it makes a huge difference because they only have like 2 tables in there that are set for one person or 2 people. And when I got to the restaurant on Sunday, because I was by myself, they put me at a 1-person table. They just opened one up for me. So they will do it if you know they don't get mad at you if you have less people. Let's say that they're not gonna penalize you for having less people, but you
They
do
put me
have
at a
more
table
options.
for 4 when I was by myself. What am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly. So definitely, if you're going to Hollywood Studios, that is definitely the place to go right now. It is just absolutely fantastic, and I mean, like I said, for the price, I mean, you can't beat it. Eating inside of you have to remember you're eating inside a theme park. Number one, you're having an all you care to enjoy meal with heavy theming. Like Liberty Square is probably around the same price. I can't remember the last time I ate there what it cost, but you're yes you are eating in or sorry, Liberty Tree. Sorry, Liberty Tree is around the same price, and you are eating in Magic Kingdom, and it's kind of themed, but this is way more themed than Liberty Tree Tavern, and it's the same price. So it actually I really feel like it was a good value.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So all right, so we wanted to talk this week. We wanted to shift and do movies and kind of change things up a little bit here, and this week I thought we'd talk about movies that were rated highly Disney movies that were rated highly but were box office flops. And I have sort of a list here. I have a list of 10. And some of these I can definitely understand. Some of these I'm a little like, okay. Yeah. So let's go through the list here. So, number one on my list here that I have, and I have 10 of them, and we'll discuss, is the Iron Giant. It's well, the Iron. Let me scratch that one. That's not a Disney film. Why is that on my list?
Yeah.
Never mind. Excuse me.
Well, it's Brad Bird, I think, right? But
yeah, Brad Bird.
It wasn't
But
Disney.
they added it. It got added to my list because of the fact that it was a similar animation style to Disney. I apologize for that. That I don't know why that. As I was reading that, I'm like, why am I reading this? So number one is Treasure Planet. Now I can kind of understand that because I'm not a Treasure Planet guy. I know a lot of people that have seen that movie. I know a lot of people that enjoy that movie. I have friends who enjoy that movie and celebrate that movie. But it was rated very highly by the critics, and it did not. It failed even to recoup just its production cost. So that is. I would have thought it would have been a little more higher than that. But yeah, that one was a big flop for them.
And a lot of these films, I'm sure we'll see as we go through the list, they try merchandise for Treasure Planet too.
Yeah.
And I guess some of that stuff you have to have ready before you know how that movie's going to perform. Yeah. So when it underperforms, and they get, man, we got a warehouse full of toys that no one is going to buy. So I think I've seen it once, and I don't think I saw it all the way through. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I've seen it like twice, but I haven't. I don't remember much about it. I know last time I did Disney trivia, there was a lot of questions about that movie, so I had to like brush up because I was like,
I guess they do it because they know no one's going to get those right. You can ask Little Mermaid questions, and everyone in the audience is going to know. But you take a random film, a little more obscure.
Exactly.
Right. So that's
exactly.
That's the bottom of the list, or you're just doing random.
That's like the top of the list. So I think it goes descending. So, so it starts with the highest losing film and then goes down from there.
And these are just animated films.
Yeah. Yeah. A mix of animated and non. There's I think there's a few that aren't. I think the next movie isn't. Let me see.
So I think we all know the biggest flop of all time for Disney, or one of the two, anyway. So
which one is that?
They had a couple of John Carter didn't do well.
Yeah, John Carter was pretty bad.
Lone Ranger was terrible. Tomorrowland underperformed. So that's why I wasn't sure if these were just animated films.
So the Black Hole was another one that was a major flop. That actually, if I remember correctly, that film was the reason why they created Touchstone Pictures, because Touchstone Pictures was an offshoot of Disney.
Oh, that one was under Buena Vista.
Yes, but they...
No, but you mean for the future films?
For the future films, they made it... they made Touchstone because of that movie. It did so bad that they wanted it to be not associated with Disney,
not a
like
Disney
have
release,
name on it.
Right.
So they created Touchstone to do that, which Touchstone went ahead to make some amazing films like Sister Act, for example. That was a Touchstone film. There was a lot of good Touchstone films.
I also allowed them to release films that weren't just G and PG. Now you could get your R splash and other films a little edgier, and as you said, not release it under the Disney banner.
Yeah, exactly. And it let them create movies that were a little more adult. But yes, I was correct. The commercial failure of Black Hole and Tron, actually, Tron 2, led Disney to create Touchstone Pictures. So that was back in the 80s there. So very interesting stuff there. Now, the next one here, The Black Cauldron.
Yep.
That is one I have seen like once when I was a kid, and I have never seen that again. It has a cult following now. So a lot of people are watching it just because, those like movies that are kind of obscure, people get a cult following for those, and they like that one. So not too much to say on that one because I didn't really watch that one. I watched it like once. Atlantis, The Lost Empire, that was another one. It had a unique animation style, but it just didn't perform well.
And that's the one I actually saw that in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was one of those people. High hopes, and not so.
I mean, it's a good film. I've seen it a couple of times. It's a good film. It's just not.
Yeah, it wasn't
never
great.
Caught on.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but I went.
Now this next one I used to watch all the time. It was all the time. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I'm kind of shocked that this is on the list. But The Rescuers Down Under. That was one of my favorite films. I loved the whole like Australian theme and everything else about that, and the Rescuers. I love the Rescuers. But when I was a kid, I watched this religiously. Like I had the VHS of it, and I would watch it nonstop on repeat. Like it was my go-to movie. So I'm kind of shocked that one. I guess because it was. I think that was the second or third one. I don't know. There was like 2 or 3 of the Rescuer movies. So.
And wasn't that the first part 2 that Disney released? I think that was the first sequel that Disney created, I believe.
Let me see.
Or am I completely nuts?
I'm gonna find out for you right now. I think you might be right. No, it was not the. What? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see here. I don't think that one was the first. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Rescuers Down Under was the first sequel. I did not know that.
Animated.
Wow.
Because they did a few live action part 1, part 2, but I think that was the very first. And I didn't care for it as much as I enjoyed the original. I don't know why. Same voice cast for the mice anyway, but I don't know. It didn't have the charm, I guess, for me.
Yeah, I that was a good. I like that one. Now the next one here. This is. I always thought this was a big one. Well, it eventually became popular, but initially it underperformed. The Emperor's New Groove. Initially, box office was really bad.
I think that's one that caught on, like some of the other films. And I think it's more for Yzma and Kronk than it is for Cusco. It's. I don't know. Or are people fans of the whole no touchy thing? I don't know. I don't know what it is that they appeal there.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's a tough one because I always thought that was a hit from the start, but yeah, I guess not.
Maybe more traction on home release. Who knows?
Because we got stuff usually when a movie is a hit, we get stuff in the parks, and we got a lot of stuff in the parks, and still to this day, we still get things in the parks, here and there from that movie. So that's why I'm kind of shocked it didn't do well from the beginning. So
you mean merchandise?
Merchandise and characters.
Oh, I haven't seen any characters.
Yeah, we've had characters in the park. I've seen clips from it in some of the nighttime shows. I think there's a clip of it from it in Happily Ever After. So there is some still there still is some rumblings from that movie.
There's a clip of the black hole in the nighttime show at Hollywood Studios. So,
I didn't know that.
Very brief clip. Yeah, the whole In Through and Beyond bit. I heard it as I was walking out one night. Like, oh my god, I think I just heard the black hole in 2024.
That's awesome. I should have. Wow, I should have paid more attention when I was at Hollywood the other night and was watching that. So I didn't know that. Oh, I don't have to watch that again. So the next one, this one doesn't surprise me that much. Meet the Robinsons. I never was a fan. Bowler hat guy and all that. I just never was a fan.
And it never seemed like a Disney film to me. I guess it was kind of like along the lines of Mars Meets Moms. Mars Needs
Yeah.
Moms.
Oh my
It
god.
just seemed like something that
How is that not on the list?
Disney just released, and maybe it's a Disney film. I don't know who worked on it. I don't know the names, but it always seemed like another studio's production that Disney. It's kind of like Popeye back in the day. That they distributed because they had a bigger distribution for families than Paramount did. I don't know. I don't know the team behind that one besides Steven Anderson.
Yeah, It was appreciated for its heartwarming story, but did not do well financially.
And of all the films that I have autographs for, I think that's one of my bigger collections.
Oh
and
wow!
I still have not seen the entire film.
That's crazy. Now, this next one here, kind of shocks me a little bit. I thought this was a pretty popular movie, The Great Mouse Detective. Apparently, it was overshadowed by other releases. Let's see what opened. Wow, that's crazy.
Those are all those in between films between like Walt's death and then the Renaissance.
Yeah, true.
And they did The Rescuers, and then they just went into all those films that nobody saw. Oliver and Company. I don't know if that was ever as big as it should have been.
So that's another one that's on my list. Oliver and Company, but it says that it was overshadowed by the release of Aliens. Aliens came out at the same time.
Different audience. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, that's what it says.
You're not taking your 6-year-old. You want us to go see a film about little mice, or do you want to go see a film? Yeah,
that's a little strange, but that's what it says. I don't know. But the next one is Oliver and Company.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver and Company is the next one. It gained popularity over time, but not a big guy. I loved Oliver and Company. I watched it all the time I still watch it to this day. It's a great movie. My daughter watches it too. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, all those early to mid 80s films, until 87, 89. A little rough. But even that's when Rescuers Down Under debuted too. So
yeah. I'm kind of shocked at some of these, but you're right. It's that kind of in between there after Walt's death and then before the Renaissance. So I can understand it. Now this last one, this one really shocks me. I'm really shocked. At its initial release, Fantasia, was a financial disappointment. I did not know that.
Well, you think about how much money they tried to sell the theaters to get the special sound, and
yeah, because they had to get surround sound for that, because that was like the first surround sound movie.
Was that too avant-garde for audiences? Because I still don't think I've seen all of Fantasia, but I accidentally sat through Fantasia 2000 in the theaters too, which was another one that I'm like, why did we just do this? So
yeah, the Fantasia 2000 was not. That was that was something. That was I don't know about that one, but I've only seen that like once, and that was that.
That's all you need.
I was done. Yeah, I was done. But Fantasia, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could see it now. And maybe because it's been out so long, it's a classic. But I'm kind of shocked. And these are all animated films. We're not including, other movies and non-animated films in there. There's a lot of Disney movies from the past that I think have just been forgotten with time. Things like one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, and this is actually a Disney movie, is the Ugly Dachshund. Ugly Dachshund is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's what would that come out in the 60s? That is one of my favorite movies. If you ever get the chance to see that, it's on Disney Plus. But that is classic. That was released in 1966, so that's like classic Walt Disney 66. Like there was like a string of films there. There was also the films with Don Knotts in them. like Apple Dumpling Gang and things like
Mhm.
that. Those are on my list as well. Like the classic, like the movies from the the '60s, the live action films that they did. Herbie the Love Bug, I think, was in that same time frame. Things like that. Those are classic movies that I think have just been forgotten over time.
Good. They had a good stretch of films in the '60s and early '70s. Live action. Was Brave Little Toaster Disney, or was that another film that
It
was released by
was.
Disney? And
Let me see.
yeah, I can't
That might have
recall if
been
that was.
Touchstone. That might have been Touchstone.
That's another one that doesn't look or feel like a Disney film.
It was Hyperion Pictures, but it was distributed by Disney for home video.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't feel like a Disney film.
Yeah, that one's like a cult classic. I mean, a lot of people remember Brave Little Toaster. Like that's one of the ones they remember most. But it's one of those ones again that did not do extremely well. But that's but it's still a movie that people remember back on fondly. So that is another classic. But what was didn't Disney do some of those surfing movies too with Annette Funicello?
Never saw a single one of them, but all those, the Bingo, the Beach, yeah, all
Those were Disney too, right?
never saw one of hers. Yeah, because she was. I don't know if she was also making films outside of Disney, but I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the Funicello films were under the Disney banner, unless there were a couple.
Those
All
were
those
those were
teen
actually
surf movies.
those were those were interesting movies. It was a time you had to like those those movies. She was one of the original Mouseketeers too.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why.
And I'm not a
she was
musical fan, so I'm not going to sit there listening to terrible ukulele songs or whatever the heck in Hawaii. I mean, it's zero appeal.
I just think that people, if you really want to have a true appreciation for Disney and Disney films, the amazing thing about Disney is you can see sort of this progression of films, and you have to look at all their films. Don't just look at animated films. Look at the live action films, because it's the '50s and the '60s. The live action films are pretty impressive. There's a lot of like hidden gems in there, and people just don't. They get overshadowed by the animated films. I think a lot of the older stuff gets overshadowed by the like the shorts. Everyone goes back to the old shorts from Walt Disney, and then they skip out on the those live action films, and some of them are really good. Like Apple Dumpling Gang is a really great movie. It's a fantastic film, and you gotta appreciate, you gotta see all the different eras of Disney. It's very interesting to see the different Disney eras for all their movies, but there's a lot of good films out there.
I finally sat down to try that one day, and maybe it's just me, but I had to sit there with my hand on the remote every time those kids and the family came on. I'm like, this is not, and then that little love. I'm like, this is not why I'm here. So I skipped past that, and I guess I'm looking for Don Knotts and Tim Conway. I guess
of course.
I mean, there was more of them, but I guess less is more in that case. You're making more comic relief. But I found myself not enjoying the rest of the story, and I wanted to. I'm like, oh, I've heard this is a great film, and I must have watched it as a kid. Didn't remember any of it.
Yeah.
So, what I'm surprised is not on this list, unless it just went to a point, how COVID impacted, and I guess that really just shook everything up.
Yeah.
But some of the, if you said, did Disney release a film called Raya and the Last Dragon, I would tell you no.
I know.
Nothing. It didn't never resonate. I never saw it. I forgot it was even a film until somebody mentions it.
Yeah. Didn't that go straight to Disney Plus?
Wasn't one of the ones? I don't know.
There was like a moment there where they were all going straight to Disney Plus because of the COVID, and I think that was one of them.
Soul. There were just certain films that it's like Aristocats. I don't know how those films did. I guess not poorly enough to wind up on this list.
Yeah, I mean those are, I guess, maybe harder to judge because it's a lot. See, that's what I don't understand about the movie business now is with the age of streaming. You have, you don't have your box office numbers. You don't have, your opening weekends in the box office and having, um, having that $1 million in a weekend or whatever they make on the movie anymore. You just put it on a platform, and I've always wondered. I always wondered how you quantify, like streaming numbers, because if you have 1 million people watch, the new Disney movie on Disney Plus, how does that equate to actual dollars allocated to that film to say, oh, this film was a major success? I mean, I get like you can say, well, it had 5 million streams in 2 hours. Okay, that's or in a day, but with streaming, someone could just be watching the movie over and over again. It doesn't actually. I don't know how they come up with the maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's really simple. I don't know, but I just don't understand how they do metrics for streaming movies, things like that. I'm
Yeah, but you know
just
what? If you're overthinking it, then I'm overthinking it, because if 1 million people stream this film, they probably were already subscribers. This film
exactly.
Onward did not bring in a dollar. So, I have to
Yeah,
get Disney Plus to stream Onward. You're already
exactly.
there. So if you want to watch this film, so you're right. It's not revenue and advertising dollars that you already have
Exactly.
subscribers, unless you have to pay for it. I'm a
Ex-
member of Amazon Prime, but they still want me to pay $1.99 to download a film that I'm like thought I would have got.
and that makes sense. Like there was a time where Disney Plus had a couple movies that were pay to watch on Disney Plus. You
Mm-hmm.
could watch it before it came out on Disney Plus, so you got to
Sure.
see it a month before, like a pay-per-view. That makes perfect sense. They still do that to this day. They have movies I see on when you watch cable, you can order pay-per-view, and or even on like Apple TV or iTunes or whatever you get your shows from, and you can watch them before they're in the theater. You pay $30 versus $20 to own it, and then you get to watch that movie. That makes sense to me because you're
That
you're
makes sense.
pushing
Right.
towards that box office. But when you have like and 1 million, like is like the goal to produce a movie that gets a bunch of people to join Disney Plus, and then that's how you say, oh, it was a success? Or do you just go by the the actual, like, oh, it was streamed 1 million times in 24 hours, so it's a success? I mean, I just don't see how saying it was streamed 1 million times in 24 hours, how does that, I could just leave the movie on over and
Mm-hmm.
over again and just keep watching it over and over again, and there I'm contributing to that million. So I don't know if that's a good metric, but I don't know what they look at for movies that are on there, how they quantify something as being worthy of a top film anymore, because and it's the same way with like music nowadays. It used to be like album sales and things like that, and now we're streaming. How do you do how do you I mean, I understand that platforms will give you awards if your song is streamed 2 million times or 1 million times or whatever else, but I don't know. Again, I'm probably overthinking it, but it doesn't make any sense to me how
No.
you and then how you take the $7.99 I pay per month, and if I watch a movie 1,000 times, how does that movie get paid for that 1,000 times that I watch it? Who knows?
Right.
I
Right.
don't know.
So something going on that's bigger than you or me, but
Yeah.
just doesn't make any sense. But all right, hey,
Hey, it happens. That's the name of the game now. Especially with all movies. I'm honestly surprised at the amount of people that started going back to theaters. Theaters have kind of come back. People are more interested in going to the theaters. I think people enjoy the experience of going to the theater, which I totally understand. You can, especially with theaters that have a meal or a
mm-hmm.
special type of screen like IMAX or something like that. There has to be some hook. Just seeing the movie in the theaters is not enough anymore. There has to be some sort of special screen or food or something that gets you into the theater. And people are going to the theaters. The movie companies, you know, now that COVID is over, people are going back, which is kind of shocking to me because if you're paying, your $12 a month to Disney Plus and all you have to do is wait another month and the movie comes out on Disney Plus, you know, I mean, like me personally, that wouldn't be my. I would go see it in the theater too, but I can see a lot of people waiting.
I guess it also depends on the film. We're thinking exclusively Disney, but if you are going to go out with your significant other and you want to have a date night, I'm not going to get a babysitter to keep the kid in the basement so I can sit in the living room and watch.
Of course.
If I'm going to go to a horror film, I want to do it with an audience and everyone gasps at once instead of just me and two of my buddies or something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Having an audience and watching a movie and having everybody kind of laugh together at the funny scenes and share that emotion in a crowd. I totally agree with you. There's just something about going to see a movie that makes it worth it. Plus, I mean, you have, like I said, you have much better sound in a movie theater than you do at your house. Your TV does not produce the same sound that a movie theater does unless you spend a lot of money on a sound system. So that too, plus the fact that they have much bigger screens, so I can see why. I can and I can't see why people go back. I honestly thought that people, once we got all these streaming services and people didn't have, this with the one subscription, I thought people would just wait it out, but they don't. I mean, I know when I was growing up, the thing was you could go see a movie in the movie theater or you could wait for it to come out on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And you would wait like a couple months and then it'd be on HBO and then you'd watch it on HBO.
But by then you've heard the spoilers. I mean, we didn't have the internet back then, but your buddies tell you, you hear that. So a lot of that gets ruined.
Yeah.
You want to find out that, or even they said that film, I didn't know this is way off Disney, but that's okay. Was it The Quiet Place or that whatever film that you just put out? Mm-hmm. And they said that people were so hooked in the theater that they were sitting silent in the theater. And noise in the theater has nothing to do with what's on film, but they bought into this whole don't make noise bit. That people were sitting silent in the theaters to not draw attention.
That's
so
crazy.
It's that psyche. It's that communal mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as people enjoy the break from other people during the pandemic, I think people do genuinely love being around other people. I think it shows in things like because there were a lot of people that kind of backed off from social settings after the pandemic because of fears. But I think we're getting right back into the swing of things. I mean, movie theaters are doing fairly well, which is, like I said, to me is kind of interesting because of the amount of streaming services we have. I mean, you basically have access to everything at your fingertips now at home. You don't need to go to a movie theater. You don't need to do this. The only thing we don't have really access to is, there's those offshoot movies that, you watched from the 80s or something that we don't have access to, that kind of go from streaming app to streaming app, or may not be on a streaming app, and then you got to pay to watch it on iTunes or something.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, everything we could ever want, I mean, we have it right in front of us on Disney Plus, Hulu, Max, whatever subscription you have.
And that's why you get rid of cable, because you don't need that type of service any longer.
But then again, that's a whole nother topic for another show. But the thing with that is now what we're all finding out is we're basically getting the same thing as we were with cable with streaming services, because now we're buying multiple streaming services. A lot of people have multiple streaming services, and they're basically doing kind of the same thing. When you add up all the costs with internet and everything else, it's kind of the same thing, which is it's crazy. It's almost like, because I hear people say to me now, there's so many streaming services. I want to watch this, and this, and I gotta buy this one, this one. And I'm thinking in my head, when you add up all the costs, you're right back at cable. Thankfully, with cable now, basically they've caught on to this too, and they basically just give you all the streaming services included with your cable plan. So you get cable and the streaming services with your cable plan. At least mine does. I don't know how others work in the area, but.
And I think a lot of times you have to find your niche where certain companies, I have to have this streaming service so I can watch. It's not even movies anymore. Yeah. Programs.
Yeah.
If I want to watch this show, I need to have Hulu. But if I want to watch this show, I need to have Netflix.
Yeah.
It's shows now. It's not even movies because all pretty much. I mean, certain ones have exclusive rights to films, but a film's a film.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, and it's at this point, I mean, honestly, like, as as bad as this is going to sound, I know I appreciate the fact that we have all this access in front of us, and we can, access all these shows and everything else right from our living rooms, our little boxes. We can have millions of shows available and all that stuff to us, but I do miss, like, and I personally am a holdout. I still have cable, and that's because I like just scrolling through the channels. If something's on, you scroll through the movie channels or something, you see something on you like, and you watch that. On demand sometimes can be overwhelming because unless you really know what you want to watch, and you have you number one, you got to find the right streaming service, to watch what you want to watch. You probably got to do some sort of search and go through 5 different services to try to find what you're looking for, unless you have something like Apple TV that does it for you. And even then, you got to kind of know what you want from the get-go, or you're sitting there scrolling through a million different things that that you could watch on Netflix and or Disney Plus, and you don't know what to pick. And it's where versus with cable, it's just whatever's on is on, so it kind of forces your hand, which I know sounds strange, but I enjoy that.
I don't want to show up 20 minutes into a film either.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to watch something, I want to watch it on my time, and I want to be able to start it now instead of, oh darn it just started, back in the old days of HBO. You're at the mercy of whatever they're programming at that
That's
time.
true. That's true too. If you're not there at 8:00 on a Saturday night when the movie premieres, then you're out of luck. Unless you had a DVR, which they didn't have those back in the day either, and you could record the movie while you're gone. Or I guess VHS, you could record it on a VHS, but that required a whole thing. So
just give me 2-3 days, and I'll find it on Pirate Bay at this point, and I'm fine. So, I'm not
I haven't been on there in forever.
Right?
That's a classic. That's a classic.
When you're missing something, like, oh, I need to see that film, and I can't find it. Yep. Well, that was good. This is something random. I enjoyed today. This is good.
Yeah, this was definitely a good topic. We will do more like this and kind of change things up a little bit. I know we've been kind of a one-trick pony when it comes to the show, and especially the parks and talking about the parks, because that is, of course, a lot of our areas of expertise because we're always there. But, of course, we always appreciate you guys joining us this week. We hope you enjoy these shows. Please leave notes on Facebook, on our MouseMinds page. What's your favorite Disney movie is that you feel is a flop. I'll put a post up, and then you guys can comment on that and let us know what you think. Your favorite Disney movie is that was considered a flop. And we'll look out for that and respond back to that. Of course, as always, thank you for everyone who joined us live this week on Facebook and on YouTube Live. I see we have consistent viewers on a lot of consistent viewers on YouTube. So I definitely appreciate you guys joining us on YouTube. It's always a pleasure having you guys join us on YouTube. We do this every week on Tuesdays at 8:30. So you can watch us live on YouTube, Facebook. And, of course, you can find us on your favorite podcasting platforms every Friday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, especially this week. I always love hearing what people's favorite films are that everyone else just slammed. So please, find us on social media and let us know your favorite film that people wonder. It's like, you actually like that film? So very curious to hear.
Yeah, that's actually it'll be interesting to see that list because see if it jives with our list. But yeah, we certainly appreciate. Yeah, please feel free to comment. If you're on YouTube, feel free to join in, chat. We respond to all the messages. I try to read them out loud, and go from there if they pertain to the show. So please, comment and leave messages. We'll be more than happy. If you guys have questions, if you have questions about the parks or anything else,
or even topics you would love for us to talk about, post it on
absolutely.
Post it on our socials, because we do need topics and we want to know what you want to hear, so that it's something of interest to you. So
that is a great point. Yes, if you have anything that you guys would like us to discuss, it could be anything. It could be the parks. It could be
the company, anything.
If you just want me to spend an hour telling you why Universal is better right now than Disney, we can do that. We've already done that like 4 times, but I'll do it time. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. I mean, we could if you ask. I mean, but that was more of a joke than anything.
We'd also be remiss if we didn't mention the loss of Pete Renaday today.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Everybody was worried about James Earl Jones. I'm like, Pete Renaday, the voice of the TTA, and he was Abraham Lincoln and Captain Nemo on the submarine ride.
Yeah.
This Master Splinter, for crying out loud, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So big time voice actor. Big loss.
Huge
to the
voice actor.
community.
Yeah. And of course, you can't forget James Earl Jones either. We have to at least mention. I mean, iconic. Probably. For me, top 5 most iconic actors of all time, just between the voice, the films that he's been in. Movies like Coming to America, and of course the Star Wars. He did the voice for Darth Vader. So there's just a lot of films that he's been in, and he's the few times that Lion King too, the few times that I've seen him, and at like fan events and things like that, he's just fantastic. So, yeah.
And I'm sorry we lost Lisa. She was there, and then we completely lost her midway through the broadcast. So next week we'll get Lisa back on.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate everyone for joining this week, and we appreciate you, Michael, and of course Lisa for joining us this week. That's going to do it for this week's show. I certainly appreciate you guys for joining us and taking time out of your night. I know you guys chose us over the debate, so we certainly appreciate that. At least for those of you watching live. Everyone else, you'll be on Friday. But we love you just as much. And we definitely thank you for listening every week. And we will be back next week. And we thank you guys. And as I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. Let us know what your favorite flopped Disney movie was on our Facebook page. We'd love to chat with you about that. But that being said, I think that's going to do it for this week's show. Michael, did you have anything else before we wrap things up?
Not at all. Looking forward to next week.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. And have a great rest of your week. Bye now.
Good night.